All right, hello and good morning. Let's take a look here. We're finishing up week one, and you'll be turning in your work starting tomorrow through Sunday. But let's take a look. Draw a line, combine like terms. Here you have 6n and a negative 8n. That's going to give you a negative 2n. And then here I think it's going to be 23. All right, these are like terms, but they're not on the same side. 2n is actually smaller because it's a negative, so you want to add 2n to both sides. That's the smaller one. So you get 6n, and then you get 23. And then this is just a two-step equation. You're going to get rid of this one last because it's with the variable. So you want to add 1 and get 24. So 6n is equal to 24. And then you want to divide by 6. And that should be 4, should be your answer. Okay, today you're working on multi-step equations, pretty much the same thing. The answers are there. Okay, so if you want to use the video to copy the questions, they're right there, but I will upload it to Canvas as well. All right, so that takes care of that. Let's talk about geometry here. Okay, let me cover up this number 6 here. Okay, so let's work these. Name the sides or what polygon it is. If it's a pentagon, it's got 5 sides. If it's an octagon, it has 8 sides. If it's a 4-sided figure, a square is part of it, but it's actually a quadrilateral. Okay, so if you say square, that won't be acceptable. If you say rectangle, it won't be acceptable. Those are examples of a quadrilateral. All right, what is a polygon? Remember, a polygon is closed. Remember, if you leave the gate open, your dog is going to get out. Okay, so that's not a polygon. And it's got to be closed. All right, now it is. And no curves. That's what a polygon is. So if you see something like this with a dome on here like that, that would not be a polygon. No curves. Okay, so a polygon is closed and no curves. All right, let's talk about this special triangle here. You were taught to memorize 1, 2, and the square root of 3, and 2 is the biggest. Put your circles. We're not looking for this side. Across from the 90 goes to 2. That's your hypotenuse. That's the biggest. Across from the 30 goes to 1. Across from the 60 goes to square root of 3. But again, we're not looking for this one. Remember, the circles go at the top. So here's my circle. So it's 2 over 4. And here's my other circle, 1 over x. We're going to cross multiply and get 2x is equal to 4. Divide by 2. And get x equals 2. And there it is, and that's how you use special triangles. All right, before you put away your bell work, let's have a follow-up. I want you to write in about 2 to 3 sentences what you did right, what you did wrong, and if you can't think of anything else, what someone else might have done to miss this problem. Okay? All right, and maybe any cautions as well. What would you caution someone to be careful about? All right, so just take a minute or two and give me 2 to 3 sentences on your bell work and answer those questions. What did you do right? What did you do wrong if you did something wrong? And what might someone else do wrong? And what would you tell someone to be careful with if you were trying to teach them? All right, let's talk about today's work. Put away your bell work. Actually, leave your bell work out because I want to come around later and check. Okay, remember, I'm going to be checking daily and giving you 5 points for that. All right, let's take a look here. Number 1 is easy because they give you the apothem and they give you the side. So for number 1, it's going to be 1/2 AP. So 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter. The perimeter, it's got 4 7s. So 4 times 7 is going to give you 28. So you get your calculator out. Now remember, today is calculator check day, so it's going to be 2 times 28, press equals, and then divide it by 2. And when you do that, you get 28. So the answer for this one is 28 square inches because it's area. Okay. All right, let's go on. This one right here is a harder one. They give you the radius. All right, now you might say, well, why is that the radius? Well, it is the radius because if you were to circumscribe a circle around here, and circumscribe means put a circle where it hits the vertices, that would be from the center to a point on the circles, and by definition, that is a radius. All right, so this is 90 degrees. We need to find this upper angle. Remember, you have to section this off into 4 in this case because it's a square. 4 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 big triangles. So you're going to take 360, which is a whole circle. So 360 divided by, in this case, you're going to divide by 4. So 360 divided by 4 is going to give you 90 degrees. So up there, you're going to get 90 degrees. So you're going to get 4, and that gives you the upper angle of 90 degrees. So draw this triangle, and again, this is going to be the harder one, or the chant problem, and put a 90-degree angle here, like that. Okay? So what you're going to do is drop this down here and make an apothem, or the height. So put an A there and put an X here. Now, if this was 90, we're going to pull that triangle out, and it's going to look like this. So if the whole thing was 90, now it becomes a 45. This is actually a 45, 45, 90, and you had to memorize 1, 1, square root of 2. Copy that down. In this case, the square root of 2 is the biggest. So put an 8 here, put an X here, put your circles, your magic circles, okay? Across from the 90 is going to go the square root of 2. This is actually an isosceles triangle, so put a 1 and a 1 right there. All right, we're not looking, we are looking for the apothem, but it's the same as this X. So we're going to do square root of 1 over X. Remember, your circles go at the top. It's going to be 1 over A, and it's going to be 1 over X. And then what we're going to do is pick 2 of these and work it out. Now, this should be square root of 1 over 8, so change that. Give me just a second. Let me change that. All right, so let's put an 8 right here. And so be careful with that. So we're going to get A times the square root of 1 is equal to 8. We're going to divide by the square root of 1. So A, the apothem, is equal to 8 divided by the square root of 1. Now, I don't know what that is. The square root of 1 is 1, actually. Okay, so the square root of 1, watch. 1 shift square root, you get 1. So 8 over 1 is equal to 8. Okay, so this one wasn't hard at all. So here's what we have. We now have the apothem, which is 8. Okay, and we have the bottom, which is 8. Okay, and you might say, well, wait a second. The hypotenuse is supposed to be bigger, and that is true. So let me take a look at my work here. All right, so it's 1, 1 square root of 2. And that's what it should have been. So we're going to have to change all of this here. Okay, so let's go ahead and fast forward this and do it again. All right, so on this one right here, you're going to take 360 divided by 4. That gives you 90 degrees. So this big triangle here, you have a right angle. And what you're going to do is drop down an altitude like this. You're going to put an 8, an X, and an A, and you're going to pull out that triangle. So draw that right now. Okay, so at this point, you know this is 8 because that's your radius, and they gave that to us. This one was 90 degrees, so that makes this a 45, 45, 90, and you had to memorize 1, 1, and the square root of 2. And the square root of 2 is the big one. Okay, this was the apothem and this was x. Okay, now we're on the right track. So at this particular point, you're going to put your circles. Okay, across from the 90 is going to go the square root of 2. This is going to be a 1 and a 1. Put your circles at the top. So square root of 2 over 8, 1 over x, and 1 over a. Okay, now we're set up. We're going to find x. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply. So you're going to get x times the square root of 2 is equal to 8. You're going to divide by the square root of 2. I think earlier I divided by the square root of 1, and that's not correct. Okay, so this is going to be x. All right, and a is the same thing because it's a isosceles triangle. So x and a are the same thing in this particular problem for a square. All right, so now let's figure it out. So the formula is 1/2 a, which is 8 over the square root of 2, times the perimeter. Okay, so what you're going to do now is take x. Now remember that x, you have to double it to get the whole side. Okay, so take, clear it out, 8 divided by 2, shift, square root, press equals. So x is 5.6. Then we want to multiply by 2 to get the whole side, times 2. And then you want to multiply by 4 to get the whole perimeter. Okay, it's kind of tricky, but that's the way you do it. So you're going to get 45.25 and some change. Since you already have this on here, we're going to go ahead now and do the top numbers. So we're going to multiply by 8, press equals, all right, and then divide by 2, press equals, and then divide by 2, shift, square root, press equals, and I get 128 square inches on this one. And again, this is called the champ problem here, and that's how you do it. On today's work, I'm going to give you a worksheet in a minute. Those of you at home, I'll send it to you. But in class, these are the easy ones where they give you the side and they give you the apothem, and then you just use your formula 1/2 AP. But off to the side of your worksheet, I want you to do these two before you go to the back. These are harder ones, and I want you to do it. Like this one, they give you the radius, but you have to find the apothem, and you have to find x, then you got to double the x, and then you got to multiply by 6 to get the perimeter. This one, they give you the apothem, but you have to find x. Once you find x, you double it and multiply by 6. All right, the answers are at the bottom. And make sure you leave your work out because I'm going to come around 5 minutes before the bell and check your work and give you 5 points for working and participation for the day. All right, have a good day, and I'll see you in class.